Hey guys, Code Red Mining. I want to make a video today about some issues I've encountered lately with graphics cards kind of malfunctioning. They seem bricked, and the steps I took to fix those. So I have a 2080 Ti Strix. It's an identical one that I sent Red Panda Mining. It's a Strix OC. I actually got it after I had sent his. I traded one of my 3080 Ti's for a 2080 Ti and a 6900 XT. So it was a really good deal. I was very pleased with it. So I had problems with this card, and then I also bought recently two 1660 Supers from EVGA. Let me pull that up. Okay, so here's 1660 Supers. You can buy two. I bought two. I don't mess around, you know. So, and I got them both right here. So this is my box 12. So there should be there's 3 EVGAs. The one that is negative, I think there's one that's a negative 1004. Yeah, this is not one of the new ones. So we are ignoring this one and paying attention to this one and this one. So I went to BIOS mod them because they're Hynix memory. BIOS modded it, and then the machine, every time it would load, it would crash right after I BIOS modded that. I'm like, okay, what's going on here? And so this went on for a little bit. I tried to load the rig. That GPU was just completely hard crashing the rig. I couldn't even get back into the system to reflash it. And for those NY BIOS, which is, I had it set up here, so it's this one actually. So I flashed it with this BIOS under the assumption I flashed many 1660 Supers. So in my opinion, the new EVGA 1660 Supers, they must have some type of BIOS lock on them, something like that. So I was actually locked out of fixing that card every time it would load into a system. So I actually took it out of the mine box. I put it on one of my CPU rigs and put it directly into the PCIe slot, and you know, I still couldn't get it to load. I couldn't even get into HiveOS to reflash it. So the steps that I went is, so I went into maintenance mode. So I turned on maintenance mode, and I did without loading drivers. So it'll go ahead and load the system, but it won't load the driver for the graphics card. So I got it to load. So then I proceeded to flash back on, and to do that, you know, overclocks flash BIOS. So you put it back on, you select the correct GPU, you force flash. It will tell you that it's done. If you don't do it this way, normally it will tell you the BIOS flash failed. If you even get the machine to load, usually it just crashes the machine entirely, which is extremely frustrating. So this is a way to get around loading the machine and keeping the GPU on the rig. So load, maintenance mode, load without drivers, you flash the BIOS, then you reboot, and it will be back to its original BIOS. That is how you fix it when it gets bricked by doing that. And you can do this with any card that may not take the BIOS thing, or if it doesn't have a BIOS switch. So like some cards have a BIOS switch, you can flip the switch. But you know, obviously you should probably try and fix that first. And let's say, oh whoopsie, I didn't save the BIOS before I flashed the PNY one on because, oh, I've done this a million times, there's going to be no problems. You can go to Tech Power Up, and you can search for basically any card's BIOS, and they have all the revisions, the different styles of them. So that'll lead us into the next one. So I got that 2080 Ti in trade. I was working on stuff the other night. So I load up the rig, and all of a sudden I keep this in a Minebox 6. I load it up, and I'm like, what the hell? Malfunction, T102. And I'm like, what the hell is going on? And so I was like, okay, well, let me try and flash the BIOS. So I went to VGA BIOS. I tried flashing the Strix OC BIOS, the main one. So I went in, flashed it, reloaded it back up, still nothing. I continued to have this issue for a while. I was getting very panicked. I was watching some videos on 2080 Ti repairs, you know, see like common issues that can happen with them. And so after a while of frustration and trying to flash the BIOS, thinking the BIOS was maybe the issue, I was like, okay, I'll go ahead and just take the card apart. And this card doesn't have a backplate, so the guy, he claimed that his kids broke the backplate, so he had one of those VR ones that just stick on the back, so obviously I had to take that off when I put it in the mine case. If not, it would just fall right off and fall in the GPU next to it and suffocate the other one. And that I may have accidentally did that. Cough, cough. And but luckily I noticed pretty quick. And luckily I keep my rigs, especially rigs with higher end cards, I make sure they shut down if the cards get to like 71C. I just have the miner shut down, or the rig just shut down completely. It's no reason to risk your hardware if there's, because usually if something's going to 71 that normally doesn't go to 71, there's probably something going on and you just want the rig to shut down immediately. So free wisdom right there. So okay, I took it out of my box. I decided, I opened it up, and once I opened it up I was like, oh my god, what the paste was hard as rock. Most of the pads were ripped or parts of them missing. So I went ahead, I had enough. I took it apart. I took it apart, repasted it, put new thermal pads on the, basically replaced the thermal pads on everywhere. I put it back together, I plugged it in, and voila, it started up. I don't know, maybe if it was possibly like overheating or malfunctioning from bad paste, or, you know, and, you know, I made sure to check all the cables while I was in there to make sure everything was snug. Maybe something was loose. But whatever I did, fixed it, and it's been running stable ever since. Fingers crossed. I will not try to touch that card because I do not want to brick a 2080 Ti. Hell no. Hell no. So I don't think there's anything else to really cover, but those are some great options for when you think a card is bricked, or what to do if my card is bricked. You're not an expert at fixing it. These are some easy solution steps. This video's gone on long enough, so I'm going to go ahead and end it. Come mine with me on eZill. Zilliqa has shot up in price. You can make Zilliqa and mine ETH once every 9 minutes. Switch for 1 minute and you get some Zilliqa. I set my limit to 1,000 Zilliqa before it pays out, and so I mean that's over $150 worth of extra money I get with my normal Ethereum payouts. So yeah, that's it, and you guys have a good night. See ya. Bye.